Are you a business owner or entrepreneur looking to take your business presence online to the next level? I'm so excited to have on the department Dr. Grant Elliott, other known as Rehab Fix. He's built his audience to over 2 million followers across social media in under 2 years and has built a multiple 7-figure online business.
I didn't know it was possible to make any money online. So I started with how much can I possibly give without actually talking directly to somebody.
Have your content be so good, you make yourself almost unnecessary.
And I said, all right, I have about a year left before I graduate. I'll just post every day for a year and just see where I'm at when I graduate.
I always say, like, if you just commit a year to this thing.
And I went from my base following to over 100K followers before I graduated. So I got my online following, my audience, that I have no idea how to monetize. I have no idea an online business is possible. And of course, you know, the limiting beliefs come in. What? That's not possible. I could never charge that much. I could never earn that much. You know, these things aren't possible.
Did you do web class? Did you do anything in between transition, or you just directly sold off of social media?
I feel as though this topic can apply to any entrepreneur listening to this, any industry, anything of any kind. The first step was and always will be.
Grant, thank you so much for coming on to the department.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
And dude, I love your story because I think number one, a lot of people follow this podcast and you get an idea that, like, you know, the content creation, building your brand online, your digital presence is so important. And someone like you who is a physician would see the opportunity in starting to build an audience. And I don't know, I kind of want to unpack that, because why did you believe it was important to start posting helpful content online to even begin with?
Yeah. Wow. So there's multiple stages to that realization, but where it really began was when I was about halfway through my doctorate program. Hey, social media is what I got to do. I got to grow a brand, because when I get out of school, I need to have, you know, some sort of a social proof. So I started posting on Instagram, started posting, you know, once a week, twice a week. I had a little bit of editing experience because I used to be really into skateboarding when I was younger, and I was editing skate videos.
I always find,
my
like,
friends.
People who edited videos in the past, it was like skate videos or like music videos.
Yeah.
It was like one or the other. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I was like, okay, I kind of know how to do this. And I was using my old editing software on my computer. So I started making 1 to 2 posts a week and slowly started to grow a little bit. And I was like, all right, I'll do this till I graduate. So then when I go into business, and I was planning on working for someone else at the time, you know, I got that proof there. And then I started getting more into it. Okay, let me start listening to some podcasts about social media growth.
Who were some of those voices back then that you can recall?
Like that I looked to
Yeah.
for at that time. There was a couple other chiropractors who had podcasts that were very into marketing, that had some really good guests that are in my niche. Like one of them, like another physical therapist that had a very large following, and, you know, they had her as a guest, and a couple other people who at the time were ahead of the curve in regards to social media growth from a healthcare perspective. Yep. And so a couple other chiropractors had to interview these individuals, and I heard the same message over and over again, which is, hey, if you want to grow social media, you got to post every day. And so I think at that time, I had 42 credit hours on that particular trimester. We had year-round school. Credit level was very high. I was like, all right, well, I got to post every day. Like, I don't know, like that seems like a lot of time. And I said, all right, I have about a year left before I graduate. I'll just post every day for a year and just see where I'm at when I graduate. And I went from my base following to over 100K followers before I graduated. And that served as my launching point to grow very fast after that, once I learned how to run a business.
That's so good. A year. I always say, like, if you just commit a year to this thing. And did you even know to, like, call to action? Did you even, like,
no,
there was no ask. No. It was just all give.
So here's what's so great. And I want to stand by, like, my mission always is results first. And at that time, I want to remind everyone listening, my goal for all of my posts, I didn't know it was possible to make any money online. That wasn't even in my realm. Mm-hmm. So the only goal I had for gaining followers, for getting more views, for growing, was purely wherever I moved somewhere and created a business, that when people heard about me, they would go to my page and just see videos and go, hey, you know what? Like, this guy shows some really valuable stuff. I will become a patient. That was my only goal. I didn't know it was possible to make any money. So the only thing I did was I just made the best videos that I knew how at the time for over a year straight, because I just wanted to value what gets me the most views, what gets me the most followers. Zero call to action, zero product sold. I didn't make $1. Just how much can I grow? That was the mission.
Yeah, no, it's great because like, I mean, it seems like you had you had leverage in your season. Like you're a student, you're already spending probably a ton of money on education, and like you're already there. Like there's nothing else that you really needed to do because that was your focus. I think sometimes, because a lot of times people want to start a thing, they don't realize that like something's compensating you right now to be able to do something without asking for a long time. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, you say you added value upwards to 100,000 followers, and this is Instagram.
Yep.
And then you're also posting on YouTube once a week.
At that point, no,
not even YouTube yet.
But I did the same. I don't want to derail the conversation, but I took the same approach to YouTube about 1.5 years ago. I went, I'm not growing a YouTube. All right, going to post every day for a year. And the exact same thing happened.
So good. That's fire. Okay. And then prioritizing Instagram, and at what point did you feel like it was time to ask?
Yeah. So this might turn into a really long answer. And if you want to take the conversation different ways, feel free to at any moment. The point at which I realized I need to ask was the point at which I was approaching the end of my clinical rotations. So at the end of chiropractic school, at the end of any doctorate program where you're practicing some form of medicine, there's clinical rotations at the end. And at the time I was dead set on moving back to Central Indiana, where I'm from, and working for that second chiropractor I met, who became a good friend and a mentor. And my wife, I was originally planning on going to Indiana to do my clinicals. And she said, no. Before we go back to Indiana forever, let's do your clinicals somewhere fun, somewhere different. And she talked me into putting out some feelers in Tampa, Florida, which is where I reside now. And I was like, all right, we can go out there for the clinicals and be somewhere different and just see what happens, and then go to Indiana. So it was a few months prior to graduation. And when I moved to Tampa and started sharing that I was in Tampa, so many people were messaging me, hey, I see you're in Tampa now. Where's your office? Where's your office? Where's your office? Well, I'm a student. I'm in my rotations. If you want to come see me, you got to go to this clinic and ask for this doctor and ask for this, intern under this doctor. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so I turned into a referring machine.
Dang.
Hey, where are you at? Okay, go to this doc. Where are you at? Go to this doc. And I was just referring people like crazy. And then I realized, like, how can I actually help this person?
Yeah.
And this is where, at least for me, the original concept of creating an online business and asking for something began. So I said, well, you know what? Like, I can help these people. Let me just see if they'll buy a Zoom consultation with me. So I just started, $100 for a Zoom consultation, right? They get on a call with me. Hey, what's your problem? All right, I recommend these exercises. I'll shoot them over to you in an email. Done. And that was it. And then I thought, okay, I think people need more than one session and guidance to figure out the things on their own. Okay, so let me do that Zoom.
And you probably learned so much from doing those one-on-ones, because like they're giving you all this insight, the language,
learning the language of
your
audience.
This is like what's so cool. I think I don't want to peruse over something that was just, maybe you had the natural gift to just pay attention to certain things. But there's a lot of people, I do say, if you want to be paid, and as an expert, start with one-on-one discovery calls and consultations and stuff. And then secondly, pay attention to how they communicate their problem. And then you can use that as ammo in the content.
Your messaging needs to be out of the mouths of those you help.
Boom.
It needs to be the same. So what my videos say, what my YouTube videos say, what my emails say, what my story posts say, it needs to be almost directly out of the mouths of the hundreds of people we meet per week.
Yep.
That's what it is. I'm just repeating what we hear every day.
So then you just compiled it into like package deals.
Yeah. So I just started, hey, let me write you a more in-depth email and charge you this much. Hey, let me write you a PDF that says week 1, week 2, week 3. And it, evolved from there. And at the time, that was just really on the side, because my initial goal was to go work for my friend in Indiana. Well, a few months before I graduated, I thought, hey, I actually have an idea of how I could test the waters with my own business, because I was very nervous to start my own business. So I kind of got this online thing going on the side, but I can't see anyone in person because I'm not graduated yet, and I'd be practicing without a license. So I came up with this idea because I was solely focused on rehab, exercise, teaching people how to fix themselves. I said, well, you know what? I can help people in pain and not use any doctoral medical practices. So let me go get a personal training cert. Let me get some professional liability insurance, and let me see if I can rent some space out of a gym. And all these people who are asking me for referrals, bring them to me and coach them on what to do, but not provide any of the medical practices that would cross any sort of legal line. So I started doing that. And I started getting clients in person. All the people who were following me started building a community in Tampa, Florida. And so I had that running for me and growing and starting to make a little bit more money online, but very minor at that time. Very, very minor. I saw that as just, if I could get anything for my Instagram, great. Like, I'll take anything, I'll take $20 for a week. That's great. And I kept doing the physical stuff in person. And up until the time that I graduated, I built it up so much that the week after I graduated, got my license, everything's clear. I basically just flipped the switch from only providing rehab to now being able to provide, of course, hands-on adjustments, soft tissue, needling, blood work, imaging, prescriptions, the whole doctor shebang. I had 16 patients on my calendar my very first week out of school.
Wow.
I don't know anyone who's really done that.
That's huge. Yeah.
So that's what started me with the brick and mortar process. But at this point in time, I really still wasn't doing anything online. I was just growing, posting every day for the purpose of that. And hey, if I get a couple $100 consultations, cool. Well, my brick and mortar grew quite well the first few months, but I graduated end of 2019. So I started practice 2020. We all know what happened early 2020. So I was renting space out of a gym, growing my in-person practice. Oh my gosh, I'm doing great. And at that time we had no money. We spent everything we had to get to Florida, and I had nothing. I was just starting to feel comfortable again. And COVID came around. Boom. Although I was considered an essential provider legally, everyone has different views on this subject matter, but a lot of people, I'm not doing anything in person, no matter what. And so my business, much like everyone's, tanked significantly. And I was just starting to grow substantially, just starting to feel comfortable. And I saw that, tanking very fast. So here's where I'm at. I got my large online following, which I'm making almost no money from.
Are you still consistent? Were you still consistent?
I never stopped every day. I never stopped. So I got my online following, my audience that I have no idea how to monetize. I have no idea an online business is possible. Nothing. Hey, if I get $100 a week, cool. I got the in-person business where I'm putting most of my energy into. And so I'm at this point where okay, what is every other clinic doing right now? They're putting in 3 times as much effort towards marketing and grassroots initiatives to basically let the public know, hey, we're still open. We can still help you, to make probably half as much as they were. So 3 times as much effort to make half as much. That's basically what all healthcare individuals did. So that's a direction I could go like everybody else. Try to keep it alive. Try to survive for that time period. Or the other direction is, you know what? I kind of have this audience over here making $100, couple $100 a week maybe. Is there something more that I could do with that I'm not aware of? And it was around February, March of 2020 when these things started happening that I took what I believed to be at the time a relatively risky move and go, you know what? This is what's paying all my bills. This is what everybody does. This is how everybody views healthcare, in person, practice. That's it. I'm going to completely chop that off. I'm going to go 100% into online and figure out what that looks like. Mm-hmm. So that's the point that I asked. And I figured out, how can I provide more? How can I turn this into a more robust program, offer more value, really start to work with people? And that's when I finally learned to add the marketing component and the business structure component to the following that I'd built, which now at that time was probably 200,000 followers.
Hey, question for you. What would your business look like if it got the attention that it deserved? You probably wouldn't even have a business problem. Most people don't have a business problem. They have an awareness problem. This is why you're invited to join me on the next Content to Cash challenge that is coming up. In 5 days, you're gonna be getting the system that I have implemented in my business that's allowed me to be a part-time 7-figure entrepreneur. Yes, because I built my personal brand online, it's opened up opportunity. But more importantly, it's given me more time to spend with my family and my community. The link to join this challenge is down in the description below. And I want to encourage you to take the VIP experience where I'll be doing 1 hour of Q&A every day of the challenge, and nowhere else do I avail myself in this capacity. And so I hope to see you on the Content to Cash challenge coming up. Good. Dude, so I want to back up a little bit on, like, because you maintain consistency despite your like life seasons change on like where you're being pulled. Like, could you break down like the system you had in place that allowed you to be consistent? Whether that was like, did you like write out your video ideas while you were, taking notes or like meeting with people? And then like, yeah, what was this? And even like on a practical level, like the gear that you use to deliver the content.
Yeah. Man, at that point in time, my phone, baby, I'd go into a gym, there'd be some turf there. I'd get my shaker bottle. I'd lean my phone against my shaker bottle. I'd make sure I'm in view, and I would already have a concept of what exercises do I want to show. I'd, back away, do the videos, upload it to my computer, and do my editing. That was the extent of my my gear.
Okay.
So I had a computer with
so good
10-year-old editing software and a phone. That's all that I had. And
Did you like you set aside time, or you would you do that while you just knew?
So what I would do throughout the week, and first off, I don't believe that this is a very organized way of doing it, but it's what I did.
Everyone has their way.
Is throughout the week, once again, I would look at the comments from people. I would look at what videos were doing good and the conversations I was having with people about what are the incorrect things they're being told? What are the movements they're trying that aren't helping? What are movements that they're trying that make them significantly worse? And also my own knowledge about what rehab movements and approaches I knew were best. And I'll basically take each of those categories, and throughout the week, I would try to come up with one concept per day. I just had a little notes tab, and I'd say, okay, I got to write one video per day. And it wouldn't be an in-depth script. It would be a concept. So I would put like, here's the problem. Like someone has low back pain. Okay, sure. Low back pain. And then the focus of this video is going to be mobility of the lower back. And what are the main movements that I know are not helping someone? And what are the movements that I know are typically rock stars?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this video is going to be about mobility. I'm going to show, are you still trying these movements with no result? Do these ones instead. There's my concept one. Which movements do I want to show? 1, 2, 3. Which movements do I want to show aren't helping? 1, 2, 3. There's my video for Monday.
So
and I would just write one concept every week, and then I would go to the gym, set my phone up, record those 7, get those batched up, and get those ready for the week.
Efficient. Like your student era probably just made you super efficient.
I think it helps. Yeah, for sure.
So good. Okay. Now like offer creation. Like, most people are the first way they see they should probably make money online is like, let me just make a course. Mm-hmm. What was your approach as to like, you said the word program, and I always like to say, rather than creating a course, create a program. It just sounds more elevated, and there is a assistance, when you use the word program, there's some level of done with you. But yeah, I would love for you to break down that journey of like arriving at your offer.
For sure. So stage 1 was random Zoom calls. Okay. Yep. Then I was like, okay, I need to provide a structure to this. But what's everyone else doing? Everyone has blueprint, do it yourself online courses.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do that. I have a lot of following. I'll just start, shuttling people to my website. So I created a 6-month online low back course, like week 1, week 2, all pre-recorded, just on my website for purchase. And I just started trying to send people to my website.
How much was it at the time?
At the time, it was $230.
Okay.
But just, nothing specific. I knew that for the vast majority of low back issues, it would help a vast majority of people.
Yep.
I knew their information was amazing, but I didn't know anything else to offer.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it. Here's a standalone. If you want more help, go to my website, purchase this. On a good week, I'd sell 2. On an average week, I'd sell 1. But I'm making $200 online. This is amazing. So that was my first iteration. And then something happened. People were doing great. But every once in a while, someone would say, hey, I did this and I was doing really good at this time, but I'm emailing you because now this week, these movements aren't working well for me. Or this week I had a flare up and I want to know why. Or, hey, I'm at the end of it. What should I keep doing? And I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to be able to provide that, but I don't know how. Like I would have to go through your whole journey and I'd have to understand the context. And it's hard to learn this stuff over email. And I was like, all right, like this is benefiting everyone who's purchasing it for the most part. But like most people are asking for a higher level. And I felt like I can't provide you that over email. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I had contact with the first potential business coach. I ended up not working with them. But I just talked to them about, okay, you're doing online coaching and what's that structure? And they basically gave me the realization that I can do better than that.
Yeah.
And I can provide more value for a higher rate, of
Yeah.
course. And of course, the limiting beliefs come in. What? That's not possible. I could never charge that much. I could never earn that much. These things aren't possible. He was like, dude, you got 200,000 followers that you're making $200 from a week. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And then I realized, okay, this needs to be one-on-one. This needs to be higher level. There needs to be more involvement. People need to be able to communicate with me. I saw that as a requirement, not only from the perspective of putting results first, which I always have. I'm getting emails from almost everybody that they need a little help here or a little revision here, a little extra here. And a standalone online course cannot provide that. So to provide everyone everything they came for, I need to be a part of it. And in order to grow and earn what my goals were, I got to be a part of it too. So the first rendition was, all right, this is going to become one-on-one. I'm going to meet with everybody. I'm going to guide everybody through the process. So let me kind of take this pre-made course and let me turn it into more of a week by week segmented so that I can make adjustments based on the individual's feedback.
Good.
And I can meet with them every week and we can have direct text communication. How did this week go? What were the movements like? What's your check-in report? I ended up creating a weekly assessment form that they could fill out so we could track what was your pain level, what was good, what was bad on a weekly basis.
So very you went like cohort based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just started working with everybody one-on-one. And then that completely changed the game in regards to the results being delivered, what I could earn from that, of course. And that's when everything took off.
And did you have anything in the middle from somebody starting to work with you, like from social media to paying an invoice or paying the price? Like, did you do web class? Did you do anything in between transition, or you just directly sold off of social media or Instagram?
The first step was and always will be with our model is an assessment. A 1-hour assessment we do with every single individual to prove to them and to us that we'll be successful. So before I would even push any degree of one-on-one, it was okay.
You push the assessment.
Push the assessment. Let's show you and prove to everyone, because we all want this to be a good result, that we can help. So, and we still do this today. I think I was very lucky with almost coming up with the right models at the beginning. And I've tested many different models at this point. So what we start with everybody is a conversation, of course. Are you dealing with something that we work with? Yes. Okay. Let's go and let's have a 1-hour assessment. And during these assessments, we take them through a very thorough clinical process. We analyze their range of motion, orthopedic testing. We figure out what triggers the symptoms, what doesn't, to see if it matches a certain path, a certain, characteristic. We'll take them through exercises real time on the call. Okay. So based on these restrictions, based on these pain points, if they have a disc issue, sciatica burning down their leg, what triggers these symptoms, we'll take them through specific movements based on their symptoms on the call, coach them through that, any modifications that need to be made, any adjustments, and then we'll redo the initial movements that triggered the pain in the first place. And we'll do a live before and after within that 1 hour. And now our average improvement on these calls is anywhere from 20 to 40% reduction in symptoms on that call.
Wow.
Just last week, we had 2 individuals who had sciatica burning all the way down to their ankle. And at the end of the call, it was all the way up to the mid thigh, which conceptually, if pain's going all the way down to your leg and now it's only going down to your thigh, is much less nerve encroachment, much less nerve impact, 60, 70% reduction in nerve pain in the first call. That's what proves to them and to us, we're going to get results.
That's really good. I mean, like at its core, it's a sales call that provides so much value for the person. And I think that's just like a good principle. It's like, because that's the transition that you have. The transition from social media to a sale is like, should we even work together? Like, if we could even, don't help anybody. Don't offer to help somebody you can't.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just some good integrity in that. And I think having integrity in a sales process is why businesses thrive.
Yeah.
That's so good.
And in many circumstances, it doesn't make the initiation of the engagement like, oh, I feel like I'm taking a risk, or I don't know how this is going to go. It's for our ideal clients, it's usually extremely obvious. Everybody knows how it's going to go. So from a sales perspective, from a process perspective, if you were considering working with a financial advisor, let's say, imagine if there was a way where you were to have a 1-hour meeting with a financial advisor And they could say, okay, let me see what I can do for an hour. And imagine if within 1 hour, you could make an investment and get a 30% return or 50% return within an hour of following their advice.
Yep.
You're like, okay, there you go. So do you know it'll work? Yes. Instead of giving you, 5K, I'm going to give you 500K. Like, how much buy-in would you get if you could prove something like that? Well, you can't in many industries, but in ours, with someone in pain standing in front of us, you can.
Yeah.
You can make real-time changes right there.
That's really
and you
good.
can make them feel extremely confident. I found the answer.
Yeah. No, I think for someone maybe that wouldn't be able to get an immediate result, it's probably maybe just showing opportunities and what things could lead to based on expertise.
Mm.
Do you no longer do those calls?
I no longer do those calls.
Unless
I'm taking overflow, we have like a big influx, and I'll take some overflow.
Sure. Yeah. And they probably have a process on those calls.
Yep.
Dude, so good. And then you said that's when it just started scaling like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, relative to me and who I was in that particular time period, yes.
Yeah.
Being my very first year out of school, I don't know who, for myself, I felt like as though I did good that first year.
Yeah.
And I don't know many chiropractors in their entire career that make yearly what I did my very, very first year out of school.
So good.
So it was fantastic for me.
It's fire. Love it. And you got access to the online business model, which is like very just scalable, like no brick and mortar, like no lease payments. I don't know. Like I could imagine all the stuff you would have to do, equipment, and you found a nice little opportunity.
Standard healthcare clinics, 50% overhead. Like most are 60% overhead, 70% overhead. For me, working as a one-man show, I had 10% overhead my first year.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just like me and my like subscriptions to stuff.
Yeah.
Like it was so basic. And to prove one more point in there is there's so many obstacles involved with the typical brick and mortar business style that both docs and patients don't consider until they work with someone like us, which is how often when you go to the doc, how often is your appointment on time? Okay. So you take travel time there, usually late. You have a 20-minute appointment slot to basically achieve one objective. Okay. Now you have to drive home. So how much work have you lost in that time, or appointments being scrambled or whatever? And in most circumstances, to not see a significant result,
right.
You're usually getting tossed around or trying this and trying that. For us, there's no wait time. There's no traveling. We're in your home. You're getting a result immediately. You're getting a program immediately. Let's say you're following a typical physical therapy clinic. Most of the time, you're only getting an appointment once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. So if they recommend an exercise and then you take that exercise home, and then let's say the next day, that exercise starts causing more pain. Like, oh gosh, I'm in more pain now. Is it the exercise? Was it something else? Should I change something? Who are you going to talk to?
Yeah.
You have to wait a full week or a full 2 weeks until then you can relay that information to the provider to then get the adjustment. For us, we do it same day.
Dude, disrupting the industry.
So let's take this, and this is a big selling point for anyone with back pain, is let's say it were to take 4 plan adjustments to get you to the groove of seeing results. So let's say you're going to try 4 different exercises or 4 different modifications until you're going to find the one that works for you. So if you can only get an appointment once every week, that's 4 weeks. So it's going to take you a month before you get to that. And in the middle of all of that, there can be discouragement. There can be distractions. Maybe you're like, man, I've got a month with no results. I'm just going to jump and try something else. And maybe the result would have been around the corner if you had stuck with it a little bit longer. There's so many variables. So it would take 4 weeks. For us, it would take 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your plan. Hey, this didn't quite work this way. All right, let's go on a Zoom call. Let's watch you do it. Let's make this modification, implement this modification tomorrow. Hey, I still fit this. Make the change. We can achieve adjustments and progress in 10x the time.
Wow.
As people can if they can only get that feedback once every week or once every 2 weeks. So our results are truly lightning speed.
Yeah.
Compared to the traditional style.
That's so good. And how did you, because some people are afraid to share too much online. Like, how did you not let that thought maybe?
Well, it's because of what was my original intent. My original intent was, how can I just provide the most value to just grow? Because I never envisioned making money from it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't considering other docs stealing my approach. I wasn't considering people providing too much and people fixing themselves and not needing to pay me for anything because I didn't think it was ever possible.
Mm-hmm.
So my first rendition of growth was providing the most amount of value possible purely for the sake of growth.
Yeah.
So it's not like my approach has changed. Like who's going to go from, hey, this strategy helped my following and my audience grow as much as possible. Hey, you know what? I'm actually going to reduce my value now because I don't want to give too much away. Any logical business owner would never do that. So I started with how much can I possibly give without actually talking directly to somebody? I'm going to fill that cup to the top. And really I just maintain that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't realize that not everyone's going to see all the content. Like, and if you are a wealth of knowledge, there's no way you can even get it all out there in one go. Like,
no way.
Yeah.
And implementation is everything. Yeah. So I feel as though this topic can apply to any entrepreneur listening to this, any industry, anything of any kind, is you can lay all of it out on the table. You can lay out a webinar, you can put all of it, but implementation is everything.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a single client that comes to us where we give them an exercise that isn't shown on my social media. It doesn't exist. Anything we would give someone is shown. And many people will ask, well, can I just find these things on your social media? And our answer is, yep, you sure can. There isn't one thing we're going to show you that you haven't seen. And they go, well, then why would I pay you for it? And the response is, well, which ones do you do, John? What do you mean? Well, I have 2,000 posts. Yeah. Which one are you going to do? I guess a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one. Okay. When? How often? If something doesn't work, how do you know when to adjust it? It's the structure.
Yeah.
That's the magic, is the implementation and the structure. Finding the right prescription for the right person. That's what gets the result, not the exercise.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, oh, I just find this random movement. I do it. Poof, pain gone. 6 years of chronic low back pain and dysfunction gone. No. You might get some improvement. It might help them. Like if, a digital marketer or whatever is providing a free guide or a process, it might help them, but they're not getting the full structure and full implementation. That's where the value is.
Yeah, dude, so much fire. Have you ever, now, I mean, because some people build like media companies, like now, obviously social media, YouTube is top of funnel for your business. Like, because you have grown such a large audience with a very specific, niche, have you been able to work with any companies like brand deal wise and sponsorships? Have those opportunities come?
Not a ton of brand deals. I have had some sponsorships for health-based companies. So companies that make health products for rolling, soft tissue stuff. Vivo barefoot shoes have been very good to me. Those are minimalist shoes to promote foot health and just proper movement. I've definitely done some advertising collaborations with them for sure. Not a ton of brand deals, but yes, that has come with it, and those type of opportunities.
And
leveraging
then
my following.
YouTube AdSense, like on average, what will you make this year?
From YouTube AdSense, okay, I think I'm averaging maybe 2,600 a month for so nothing crazy.
Yeah, but
probably like 2,600 a month is what I'm making just from uploading the video.
And so you pay an editor, maybe you pay someone to shoot your content.
I shoot it I still shoot everything myself.
Dude, love it.
I've tried to hire out. We can talk about this in a second if you want. There's certain things that I've tried to hire out that I can't. And filming and coming up with the ideas is something that has not worked. But yes, I do the filming, I do the ideation, I film it all, and I just send it off to an editor.
So good.
Get a thumbnail editor, put it together, post it. And that, of course, I'm making, a little over $2,000 a month just from posting it.
Yeah.
But the whole purpose is to provide value and to, of course, get clients from that.
Right.
That's what the majority of the income is.
Okay. Some people struggle with the idea of naming their brand online, their actual name, and then coming up with a name. Maybe it's a business name. Yours is Rehab Fix. Why didn't you go with your name with the name as opposed to your business name?
Yeah. Once again, I don't know if this was, ultimately, I don't know if this was the right move or not. Right now, I think it is. But at the time, once again, I was in the middle of chiropractic school. I was a student. And I was like, okay, I need to make a brand around me. And my initial thought process was, all right, well, if I call it Dr. Grant Elliott, yeah, that carries authority and growth. But the way that I viewed it was, okay, I don't know the name of the CEO of Nike. I don't know the name of the CEO or the creator of these other businesses. I know the name of the business and that's influence on other people. And I trust the name. And so anyone underneath that, I already have an inherent trust with because I trust the name. So
good.
Then this is just the way that I thought with no education. This is the way that I viewed it. And once again, maybe someone has a different opinion and that's fine. But at that time, my decision process was, I want someone to trust a name so that if I ever have anyone under me, they trust anyone who's under this name. And secondly, purely for growth purposes, at that time, I was doing a ton of Instagram research. What accounts are doing best? And I definitely saw a correlation between certain names that were very simple or very related to their niche that naturally grew more because of a name. Because if someone searches on Instagram back pain, and let's just say there's someone out there who owns the handle back pain, that's going to be a very easy account to grow.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, what are all the combinations of accounts that aren't taken? And rehab, okay, physical rehab, fix your problems. I just put those two together. It was available out of my options. And I went, all right, it's a simple name. It'll search if people are going to keywords rehab, keywords back pain rehab. It'll pop up with all of those. And it's a brand name and I can build a brand.
So good. I mean, that's what I encourage people with, because like there is two options, and doing it that way does allow, now you can include other, faces, and no one's going to be mad about that, eventually when you feel like, also the ability to sell it, like you've removed a little bit of the key man risk. In my case, I understand that is my limit, but then there also is a level of intimacy that gets created virtually because it is my name and it's the personal brand, but not too many people could sell a personal brand. John Maxwell recently, I think, sold his name, but that like dudes has a library of video or books and stuff. So good. Let's kind of transition into like the health side of things. Like you've offered like to kind of even help me, and we, entrepreneurs and creators, I think more occupations involve us using laptops. Like literally I'm looking at art and like dudes like neck like broke down like
shrimp.
Yeah. No. And like we're on our phone. I saw my wife the other day just scrolling, and I'm like, dang babe, look at your phone like this. I don't know. Like, but what are some things that you've seen like just in the era of working from home, working at computers and stuff like that, like messing with just even our makeup, and then literally like, let's go to dude, freaking fix me,
So and there's a couple big things I want to discuss here, and this will naturally take us down a couple rabbit holes, which I want to go down of, what are areas of health advice that you should pay attention to and what are ones that you shouldn't. There's a lot of myths in regards to back pain and topics around structure and posture and getting x-rays and all these things. There's a lot of myths about these things. So I'm going to start very big picture, and then we can go into some.
Because a term you use is spine health.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I didn't even know like my spine has a health.
Sure. So think about it this way though. And my goal with all of my messaging too is to make it so simple.
Yeah.
So spine health, your spine is made up of multiple joints, multiple tissues, primarily vertebra and the discs in between. Most people are aware of that there's a bony part and a little gushy part, bony part, gushy part. Well, those are a bunch of joints. And just like there's joints everywhere else. So if I were to say, hey, joint health, conceptually, that makes sense to you. Okay, joint health, like I need to keep my joints healthy. Well, really, the term spine health is no different. Let me keep all the joints and all the tissues of my spine healthy too. And your spine is made up of many joints. It's not a stiff, rigid 2x4. And so you want to move as many of those joints as possible. And 90% of low back issues are movement-based. So it's a movement-based problem, and it needs a movement-based solution. So movement as a whole, singular word, is really the key to the vast majority of low back issues. So in regards to health of individuals, entrepreneurs working, low back pain is the number one disability in the world.
Wow.
80% of human beings alive will experience low back pain at some point. But why does low back pain make such an impact over other, my wrist hurts or, whatever? Well, a lot of that comes down to the narratives around back pain and the understanding of it, both from a societal perspective, but definitely a medical healthcare perspective. That's where it begins. So, and I don't know if I'm going the right direction. Please keep me on track for where you want me to go. But a lot of people have this belief that like back pain, oh my gosh, 80% number one disability in the world. Oh, it's awful. Back pain is just as recoverable as anything else. But there's this message around back pain that's like, oh, like once you got it, like you're screwed. Like you got a disc herniation. Yep. The only thing that fixes that is surgery and you're going to have back pain forever. Like these are the common beliefs.
Yeah. I think one thing I think about, I'm 33, and anytime I feel like some part of my body is like just not as good as it used to be, it's either a really long road to get it back, or it's like, yeah, this is getting older.
Yeah. Well, the topic that you're bringing up is a lot of people believe, I'm degeneration.
Yeah.
I have degenerative disc disease. This is the term that's thrown out there all the time. Now let me reframe this in your mind then. Okay. Let's both fast forward 20 years from now. Okay. We're both going to have some gray hair. And we're going to both have some more wrinkles on our face. I got a few more wrinkles in me right now. But we're both going to have some gray hair. Both going to have some wrinkles. Does that mean if I said to you, hey, you know what? Like I got these wrinkles now. I think I have degenerative face disease. I think my face should hurt because I have wrinkles. Would you jive with that?
No.
Okay. I got gray hair, man. Like something's wrong with me. I'm degenerating. I have gray hair. Doesn't make a lot of sense. You're getting older.
Yeah.
So this term degenerative disc disease, hey, I'm older, things are decaying. If internally, if my spine structure, if all of my bones, if I was 80 years old, but my spine looked like a 20-year-old, that wouldn't make biological sense. That doesn't line up.
Yeah.
My spine should look the age that I am. And just like gray hairs on my head or wrinkles on my face, there's going to be natural age-related changes with the rest of your body too. That doesn't mean you're decaying in an unnatural way. It doesn't mean it's going to cause pain. It just means some signs on your spine is the same thing as blowing out another candle on your birthday cake. There's no difference. So really, I mean, the key to spine health is to move more. The problem with a lot of entrepreneurs and people who have desk jobs and sit too much is their body is only in one position for most of the day, and they need to expose it to other positions to give it more movement. So it's the same thing as imagine if I kept my arm like this.
Which, by the way, bro, you're freaking ripped.
No.
I need some macro like advice too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Train hard, eat a lot of steak. No.
Okay.
So imagine if, and this is such a big lesson, and I hope the people watching this care about this. Imagine if I held my elbow like this for 8 hours straight. Okay. Do you think my elbow would hurt after 8 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if I were to hold my elbow like this for 8 hours straight, do you think my elbow would hurt after 8 hours?
Yes.
Okay. So now here's the posture myth that I'm about to bust. Okay. I can't really turn sideways to you because I got a mic here, but let me try to demonstrate in this position. Okay. If I were to sit like this, okay,
which is how I sit
for 8 hours straight, do you think my back would hurt?
Yeah, 100.
Okay. Now, if I were to sit like this for 8 hours straight, do you think my back would hurt?
Correct. It will.
Yeah.
Good posture though.
Good is relative.
Good is relative.
Good compared to what? So just like my elbow, this for a long time isn't good. Well, this for a long time isn't good. For my back, bad posture. This isn't good for a long time. But perfect posture, what society has branded perfect, perfect posture is not good either.
Yeah.
The key here is I'm moving my elbow throughout the day. My spine, let's treat it the same. Move it throughout the day. So the best posture for you is the one you're in for the next 5 minutes. Change your posture frequently. Move your spine frequently. Move all of your body frequently. That's what's going to keep the joint in the area healthy, not fixating it in one position. Ask anyone in the military. If you hold at attention, perfect posture on paper for any prolonged period of time, they're dying to get out of that position.
Yeah.
They want
faint.
to sit and slouch, and they'll go, oh, but this feels so good.
Yeah.
There is no perfect posture.
Because I do attribute some of that lower back pain from like ruck marches and my time in the military. I've done like a lot of miles, and it would just be carry a big load. But I also don't know, like, yeah, maybe just when I started working with computers is when it really started messing up.
And most likely that's not from any damage that might have occurred during your time in the military, because the best part is, and there's these other analogies, man, I could talk about this for days. I'm so passionate about this topic. A lot of healthcare providers and people compare their body to a car. Hey, you know what? If this tire's going bad, if this brake's going bad, you got to replace it, right? So my back is going or my hip is going, I got to replace it. if you were to scratch the side of your car, can your car regenerate? No. No.
Right.
If you scratch your arm, can you regenerate? Yes. Your body's not a car. So any type of, stress that your body was under at that period of time, the most amazing part is that your body is a living, adaptable piece of tissue. So if I put, just like working out, if I put stress under this tissue, it adapts and it grows. And guess what? Your spine can do the exact same thing. There's this narrative that, you got to be careful with your spine because if you weight lift and if you hold a lot of weight, you're going to compress your discs. That leads to further degeneration. No, the evidence is very, very clear on this. Lifting weights and loading your spine, deadlifts, squats, weight on your back actually improves disc height and disc health and overall health of your spine. The problem is when they analyze the spines of people who are very fit, very active, lifting heavy versus couch potatoes, people who aren't loading their spine at all, the couch potatoes always have worse spines on imaging and movement and everything. It's always worse. So loading your spine is a good thing. So in your time in the military, in those moments, sure. Could your back have been sore? Could you have been stressing it? Sure. But guess what? Your body can grow and adapt to that. The tissues of your spine can grow and adapt to that. And that doesn't cause long-term damage.
Random question. Like, should my wife not step on my back if I want her to crack it?
Dude, here's the easy answer. So I'm not, only a chiropractor should do that. Bro, if it feels good, do it. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Like if you're feeling good, doing whatever you're doing, if you don't have issues.
But why do I feel like she needs, like
because remember, there's lots of joints in your spine. They become fixated if you're not moving them throughout the day. So once again, my arm's like this for 8 hours. Do you think when I go to extend it, I'm going to just be able to immediately do it? No, I'm going to go, it's going to be tight. I'm going to need to like move it. Your spine's the same way. So all those joints, if you're stuck in one position, and remember, this isn't a bad position. It's a position. It's a posture. If I'm stuck like this for a very long period, then my back is going to be stiff in the opposite direction. When I do that thing, your spine needs more movement throughout the day.
That's good. I saw it's funny because the internet's hilarious, bro. Like with anything, when it comes to making money, when it comes to like your health, because like one person saying this diet's great, this other person saying this diet's bad. Like I literally saw a podcast, I think it blew up, this girl saying like cardio is such a waste of time. And I'm like, is it? Well, now that's a new thing that's in my head, but she was talking about skeletal health and lifting weights is more better. But how do you weigh that tension of like cardio? And I mean, you say movement, but
yeah. So like it's all context.
Yeah.
Cardio is a waste of time compared to what? Are you talking to someone who is a workaholic entrepreneur, doesn't have 20 minutes and they're trying to lose a certain amount of weight? Okay. So what's the mission? Are they trying to lose 20 pounds and they don't have time to burn more calories? Okay. Well, they do have time to eat less. Eating less actually saves you time. So in that context, on that person with that goal, would I say cardio is a waste of your time? I would say yes. Just eat less. If you need to burn an extra 200 calories a day, eat 200 calories less. So now you're not taking time away from your business. You're actually getting more time because now you're eating one meal less and you're going to achieve the goal you're after. Everything is context-based when it comes to healthcare. And this is why some people, they actually get a little bit confused sometimes when I speak on the topic of low back pain because people love the 1 + 1 = 2 scenarios. You have back pain because your core is weak. No. You have back pain because your hip flexor is tight. No. Back pain is extremely multifaceted. There's so many layers of it. There's not one singular thing that can cause someone to have back pain. There's multiple things. That's good. So on the front end, I provide a very optimistic, hopeful message that back pain is very, very recoverable.
Yeah.
But people like to, and of course I do some of this, of course, for the purpose of getting people to the real value. People like having hey, what's the cause of this? And what's the, 1, 2, 3 step to resolve this? But in reality, vast majority of low back pain cannot be linked to one particular thing.
What would be your insight on mattresses?
We can save people a lot of money on mattresses. So everyone blames their mattress. So here's the thing, okay? Is if someone is saying, okay, I have back pain, I think it's because of what I'm sleeping. I think it's the way that I'm sleeping. once again, we know that 90% of low back issues are movement-based problem and need a movement-based solution. So instead of saying, hey, you're waking up in pain every day and you have pain every day, why is the one thing you're randomly choosing to blame your mattress? Like, what made you pick that? Well, I don't know. I heard that I should change my mattress and my mattress might be bad. How about we change your movement first? And then we see if you need to change your mattress.
Yeah.
Like, don't just jump to that. So many people were on calls with us. And when I try to work out, it hurts. When I do this, it hurts. So I think I'm going to change my mattress. How about we save you $5,000 right now? And instead we try to help you move in the right places more and then see if the way you're waking up feels better. If you do, it's not your mattress. Now, maybe someone still needs a new mattress because it looks gross or something, whatever, they can still do that. But a lot of people are blaming the wrong things. Or another classic one is the sleeping position. Here's a great myth is what sleeping position is most healthy? Get this response. Whichever position you sleep best in is the best sleeping position for you. Let's not overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
But yet we talk to people who are getting sleep position coaching for their back pain. And now if they're told, I got to be in this position, otherwise I'm going to experience back pain, how much anxiety does that create about the position you're in? These people go from sleeping okay in pain to waking up almost every single hour because they have anxiety about going out of that position and then waking up in more pain. Wow. So their sleep quality goes through the floor. And now what do we know about the consequences of poor sleep?
Everything.
It negatively impacts everything.
Yeah.
And so now they have more pain as a result, but they're thinking it's because of their sleeping position. No, it's because someone made you obsessed about your sleeping position and now you have anxiety and now you're sleeping worse. And now everything's worse.
Yeah. No, I think the mattress thing is usually just because like when you wake up, maybe that's the most you feel it. Like,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, here's the reason why is because overnight when you're laying down, gravity is off your body. So there's this process called imbibition. Imbibition is when your discs actually swell and your joints as well swell overnight. So when you wake up, you're taller than you are at the end of the day. I think on average 2 to 3 centimeters, something around that line.
Praise God for all the short people.
So when you have a more swollen joint, does that make a more stiff joint? Yes. So everybody is more stiff in the morning.
So
but if you have an actual low back issue, it's going to enhance the degree of stiffness you have in the morning. So then, yeah, people tend to blame the mattress for the way they feel waking up. No, it's a natural process. You have a back issue. Your joints just swelled overnight through a natural process. And now you notice it more in the morning.
Yeah.
That's all that it is.
I have two friends. How do you say it? Sciatica?
Sciatica. Yeah.
Yeah. I have two close friends that like had it. My first friend, it started because he sneezed.
Yep.
Like he just sneezed like this. And then he was like, what just happened? And he was jacked for a while.
Yep, for sure. Boom, pop in the low back, now radiating symptoms down the leg. That's a classic disc herniation scenario.
And then, I mean, over the course of some time, I think he did find something that helped him, but it was like a really long time to get it back. My other friend, I think he just woke up and it was like there and like realized that you're not supposed to stay still, especially when you have it. Like how, because I know that's like, that's probably, it's so cool about what you do because like I'm sure you catch a lot of people in pain, and like I think pain is a great business to go help people with, right? But yeah, if somebody is like just because we're not all of us, none of those two guys, I would think that would have happened to them because they are they're younger and fairly active, and it just happened. Like if something like that happens, what would be like the first thing you should probably do?
Well, once again, specific recommendations are always context specific. So I would truly, and I'll get to some general recommendations though, because I want to provide some help, but to provide the best answer, I would need to know what their symptoms are and what they were doing when it occurred and take them through movement testing to see what triggers your movements now. Knowing what triggers your movements now would let me know what movements we should implement now. But kind of retroactively doing things, it's a little bit tough. But generally speaking, let's assume I have no context on the individual. Let's say, okay, well, the listeners, the viewers, I can't do that with anyone watching. So let's just take it for what it is. Okay, in that scenario, someone sneezed, sciatica down the leg. What should they do? Well, 90% of individuals with any sort of back pain or leg pain, they're going to say what you said earlier, which is, I feel better when I move. Well, there's the proof. Most people with sciatica, they found themselves walking all the time because when they walk, they feel better. Some people, it makes them worse.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, when I walk, I feel better. So that's a piece of the context. So let's say that friend, I sneezed. Okay, what is a sneeze? A sneeze is a high degree of force. Intra-abdominal pressure significantly increases. It's a huh, huh. That's a sneeze. And I'm bending forward. Huh, huh. Okay. And I know that walking makes them feel better. Okay, great. This follows a really classic pattern of disc herniation. So if I bend forward with force, now I have back pain and pain shooting down. That lines up with something called a flexion intolerant disc issue. So when I flex forward, that's what created the injury. I guarantee you for this individual, if I asked him, hey, I want you to bend forward and tell me what happens. He'd say the further I bend forward, the worse it gets. Okay, so pain sitting long periods in flexion. Yes. Pain bending forward. Yes. Pain trying to, put your socks and shoes on in the morning. Yes. These are very classic things. Okay. So if we know that the issue began by flexing forward, sorry if I'm messing with the mic, good. It gets worse flexing forward. Why don't we try the opposite? Let's go the motion that is the opposite direction of what makes it worse. So if it hurts to bend my finger forward, let's bend it back. That's all that it is. And most likely, if we take your spine the opposite direction in the manner in which hurt it and the manner in which triggers it, very, 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 very often taking it the opposite direction will reduce the symptoms, will cause the opposite effect because you're restoring the motion that it's missing in the first place. And the lack of that motion is what caused it.
So good, man. Good to just know to just do the opposite motion.
Do the opposite.
And then probably hit you up.
Yeah. It's like same thing for the knees. Let's say you sit all day. So like right now, my knees are in flexion. They're bent. If I never straighten my legs, my knee needs more of this. My knee needs more of this. So if I sit all day, it would be very logical for me to stand up, lean forward, and load my leg into extension multiple times to take the joint the opposite way. It's super logical.
Yeah.
Like think about what position you give your body the least of and give it more of that. And you're probably going to feel better.
Really good. Love that. I mean, one last thing I would like for you to break down in a very overflow manner would be, how would you encourage us entrepreneurs, content creators, just to maintain more health? Like, I love that you said, if, you can just eat less rather than burn that time and then use that. There's just some things that like we think it has to be a certain way. Yeah. So, I mean, you're the doctor. Tell me what I got to do to stay healthy in 2024.
Oh man. Okay. So
understanding the context of everybody watching.
Yeah. So that's a big question. And what I would like to do, whether with you or whether with myself demonstrating, I would actually like to show two really, really simple exercises that anyone who sits long periods, who's an entrepreneur specifically, can do that'll change the way their back feels.
Okay. How about this? We'll shoot it on a separate camera.
Cool.
If you're listening to the audio experience, go on the YouTube. Number one, subscribe on the YouTube, and that's where we'll throw it in. All right, this is a department first where he's gonna, because I do my podcast here, and obviously you said, what do you do most of the time? Yeah, obviously I'm sitting at a desk, or when doing the podcast, I'm sitting like this. So you're taking what I'm usually doing to then create the movements I should be doing outside of sitting.
Correct.
Okay.
And we're going to break this down and make it so simple. So first, I want you to sit in the chair normally, how you look after hours of sitting there. Okay. And everyone talks about, I'm sitting in the chair all the time. My posture's bad.
Yeah. So, and like, I'm usually like on my phone.
So I'm going to make this so simple. During the podcast, I made a comment. What are you doing the most of? Let's do the opposite. So what's the position his spine is in right now? It's in a rounded, flexed position. Okay. It's in this position. So why does it feel so good when his wife steps on his back? Because it's pushing him into this position. So we know, based on his activities and what he's doing, he's getting more of this than he probably
needs.
My
posture.
So using the thing he's sitting on, we're gonna give him the opposite in two very simple ways. So we're gonna come off the chair now.
All right.
Okay, the first area we're gonna focus on is the mid back. So turn around a little bit. Right here, okay? A lot of people get really tight and stiff through their thoracic spine, so let's target this first. So you're gonna get on your knees right about here.
Let's do it.
You're gonna let me scoot this a little bit. You're gonna put your elbows like this, okay? Bring them in a little bit. Rest those on the chair.
My elbows.
Okay, yep, rest your elbows on the chair. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is at the same time, we're just gonna push our hips back a little bit, and I want you to drive your chest to the floor. So scoot your hips back.
Like
So
scoot back?
keep your knees where they are.
Oh, keep my knees where they are.
And just rock your hips back,
Like
okay?
that.
And push your chest down.
Yeah, that's
okay? You're gonna feel a significant stretch right here.
Yep.
And it's gonna stretch through your lats and your shoulders too. You feel that?
Yes.
Now come out of it. So kind of rock out of it. All right, now rock back into it. Push, 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 push. You feel that right there?
Yes.
And keep doing that. So why are we doing this? Because this is giving him extension of the mid back when it's normally in flexion, getting stuck here most of the day. This is an amazing stretch for neck issues, mid back issues. You're gonna feel it right here and it will feel amazing.
How long should you do this for?
I would recommend taking a break, at least doing this 3 times a day. Let's just do morning, afternoon, and evening. I would do 10 to 15 reps of this to keep this area mobile. You're gonna feel way straighter when you get out of it. Once again, promoting the opposite motion. So this is one key area. The other key motion is the lower back though. So how can we get some extension in the lower back? Same thing. So we're gonna come on up now, okay? Now, we're just gonna rest our elbows kind of on our chest and we're gonna lean on the chair again. So just kind of lean directly onto it. Okay, and you can bring your arms up a little bit more so you don't feel like you're gonna fall off. Now you're gonna scoot your knees a little bit further back, okay? And now you're gonna push your hips forward and towards the floor to get into like a cobra position, okay?
Do I need the chair then?
Yep, you're gonna use the chair. I mean, you don't have to. You could just hold your arms straight.
Yeah.
But for the purpose of this thing's making us feel bad, let's make it feel good. That's the mission.
Yeah,
so push your hips forward and down.
Yep.
Forward and down. Yep. Get into a cobra position. Now, same thing, kind of rock back and forth. So your knees are the anchor. Now bring the hips up, kind of come out of it. Yep. And then back into it. Repetitive motions are extremely helpful for the spine. Repetitive, in, out, in, out.
Love it.
Once again, his low back is typically in this motion. His hips are typically in this position throughout the day. And when we rock into this end position,
Getting some abs too.
it's the opposite. You're getting your low back into extension. You're stretching out the hip flexors. You're giving your back the opposite of what you're getting too much of. Do these 2 things and probably how did that feel?
No, it was great. I mean, it was like, I felt like that's what I should be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you feel it is the opposite. What if your chair got wheels on it?
Yeah. Pin it up against a wall,
there you
find a couch, or we can help you find a movement variation.
Yeah, so good. Thank you.
Yeah, right, man. So, I mean, big picture health question. As you can imagine, there's multiple facets that can influence someone's health. So obviously stress, well, guess what? We're entrepreneurs. We're all going to be stressed all the time.
Yeah.
That's how we like to be. Okay. So let me go ahead and just skip past that one. All right. So other ones, quality of sleep. Okay. Yes. Quality of sleep is obviously essential to optimize sleep patterns. I would actually refer to Huberman Labs episodes on sleep. He was also a client of ours. Great guy. Some of his topics are controversial, but he's an amazing person and is so passionate about what he does. So listen to it. And then the big key things for overall health, the most applicable ones I would say is you want to start and end your day with movement always.
Start and end your day with movement.
A morning walk, it's so simple, but I've done a morning 20-minute walk every single day for probably 6 years straight.
Dang.
And I do it with my kids now. I'm raising them with a movement-based mindset.
That's really good.
So we start our day with movement. So we get up, we eat breakfast, time for a 20-minute walk. End of the day, we eat our dinner. All right, time for our 20-minute walk. So what am I essentially saying? Move more. In that context of movement, it's movement outside in nature, seeing the sun. Get a little bit of earth in your day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if I'm speaking to tons of entrepreneurs right now, okay, how can you generally be healthier? All right, eliminate all the crap out of your diet. So reduce sugar the best you can, reduce inflammatory components. I'm not saying carbohydrates are bad. That's certainly not bad. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not trying to come at this from an angle of a dietitian, but there's a lot of inflammatory foods, processed sugars, processed flours, things that you might be over consuming in excess. Nothing in excess is good. So clean up your diet, reduce inflammatory components, eat at a caloric level that maintains appropriate body composition. Ultimately, caloric balance is going to be the ultimate predictor of health in many ways. So basically just don't be fat. If you're not fat, you're going to feel pretty good most of your life. You know, have some abs. If you can keep like some degree of ab appearance, you're going to be feeling probably pretty good for most of your life. But conceptually with my main topic, implement movement throughout your day. So I sit at a computer all day. I have to, but I have a walking treadmill and I have a standing desk. So I change my movement. So for an hour, I might sit in a curled position looking like a shrimp. There's nothing wrong with that. The next hour, I might bring in my walking treadmill and I walk for an hour.
Good.
The next, I might sit back in my chair in an upright position. Then I might just stand. Implementing movement variations throughout your day in movement opportunities, we call them movement snacks. Get some movement snacks in your day, is the best way to feel physically better, to maintain more focus, more energy throughout the day doing your work practices. And if it can keep you out of pain, talk to someone how easy it is to focus when you're in pain. You can't get anything done.
Right.
And entrepreneurs, you need to be able to focus on your business. So I recommend starting your day with a 20-minute walk, ending your day with a 20-minute walk, implementing movement snacks throughout your day, and posture variability. There's no good or bad posture. There's just different postures.
Dude, so enlightening. And thanks for making it super plain, easy to understand.
It's got to be. Otherwise, no one will apply it.
Yeah. No. How can people connect with you? And what you got going on?
Yeah. So the number one social media outlet I would direct everyone to would just be our Instagram. That's our main thing. You're gonna get the most value from there at Rehab Fix. And I wanted to create a guide, a process specific for your audience, actually, if it's okay for me to share that too.
Yeah.
So anyone who is dealing with a low back issue, and if you're watching this, you might have seen a couple exercises that I took Omar through, and these will be very helpful for you. And there's many on my page that can be helpful for you. But as always, if the free content doesn't get you to your goals and you care about feeling good and moving well and be able to focus on your business, or to be able to do the simple things you want to do, and you need a little bit more, I would like to provide a guide specific for you, or that goes more in depth. So if the audience just wants to text me the word spine to 317-751-9509, I'll send you a page where you can get access to an in-depth guide, something more in-depth than what my social media will provide.
Right.
That could get you a little bit closer to the result, and will hopefully help you in a manner in which you might not be able to find other places.
Awesome. I appreciate you. We'll put those links in the description or show notes. And thank you for coming on. So insightful, great conversation. I love that you didn't allow the way a traditional industry operates. You saw an opportunity and a void that you maybe in like blissfully filled that void. And now you're helping so many people. And I appreciate even just what you've chosen to do with your life, helping the human experience be better.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine selling anything different than a life without pain. I don't think there's anything better I could sell, and I love doing it every day.
So good. I appreciate you. Thanks for being on.
Yeah. Thanks, man.